see a lot of people in California, they just sort of, the weather, they don't particularly care for it. But you know how you would come to appreciate rain more? If you were to wake up and there'd be about 8 inches of snow out there, you'd say, come on back, rain. But anyway, glad to have you here with us this morning as our Sunday celebration of oneness. That's what we've come here to celebrate, our oneness with that brought us here. We give thanks for you coming. And I always start out asking you to please turn off your cell phones. I appreciate that very much. I know. And in your program, there's a song sheet, and we have songs for the season. And would you stand and grab your song sheet and let's sing. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Sing, choirs of angels, sing in exaltation. Oh, sing, all ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God in the highest. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. You guys sound good, you know what I'm saying? All right, joy to the world. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare Him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of His righteousness, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love, and wonders of His love. Thank you very much. And as we prepare for our, have a seat, go ahead, have a seat. And as we prepare for our morning treatment, do I see Reverend Terrell? Okay.
Steve's going to do it.
Reverend Steve's going to do it? Okay, Reverend Steve's going to lead us in our opening treatment. But prior to that, let's sing Grateful. Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for believing that God is all there is. God is all there is. God is all there is.
So here we are, in this wonderful place. And we know that this holiday season, we celebrate Kwanzaa, we celebrate Hanukkah, we celebrate Christianity. But really, we celebrate oneness. The oneness within us, the Spirit within us, the love within us, the allness of who we are. And we know this about ourselves at a deep level. So as we take time right now to touch that, know that all is well in our life. And if there's anyone or anything that needs to be healed right now, here in this moment, go ahead and let that heal. Go ahead and be in this moment. Go ahead and enjoy the holidays. Go ahead and be who we are, and more of that every day. For it's all good. And it's very, very good. And we give thanks for being here. We give thanks for showing up every day and knowing the truth of ourselves. We are in our right place. And so we let this go and we let this be, and we have a joyous holiday season. And together in love we say, and so it is.
Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for believing that God is all there is. God is all there is. God is all there is. Well, good morning, One Heart, One Mind. It's great to see everybody here today on this wonderful choir Sunday. Our theme for the month of December is giving your gifts. And we talked last week about the gifts of the world religions, and today we're going to be talking about the gifts of the divine individual. But first, I want to just mention that if we have newcomers, anybody who's here for the very first time, we'd love to have you sign our guest book and take a newcomer packet with you, and also meet with us over on the other side in Rosie's room, where we have we have all kinds of goodies there. And Rosie, would you stand up and just tell us a little bit about what we need to do for next what we need to do for next week, Rosie?
Okay, I have the sign-up sheet on the other side. If you would just put your name down or what you'd like to bring, that way I know how to fill in. Okay?
Bring to what?
To the candle lighting. I'm sorry.
Remember next Sunday night at 5 p.m. is our candle lighting service. So we have our regular service at 10 a.m. and our candle lighting at 5 p.m. So we'd like to see you, of course, at both services,
And
obviously.
who's singing at the morning service?
And who's singing at the morning services? Vocals only.
All right, Tom.
Vocals only. And also, remember John Anthony? He really wants to sing, so we're going to have him do one song at the very beginning next week too. So come next week at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a great celebration, and then 5 o'clock is our candlelight service. Our Christmas boutique continues today, so you can buy some Christmas items there. Everything's up to 50% off. Right after our service today, well, actually at 11:30, Anita's going to do the floral arrangement. Are you all ready to go, Anita?
Yes,
Okay, how many people are signed up for you?
6, but there's extras.
Okay, so if you really want to come and create a wonderful Christmas bouquet, Anita will show you how to create a bouquet, a beautiful bouquet that you can't get in the store for $40, $60, $80. She's going to be doing it. Okay, she's a little low. She's going to be doing a great Christmas bouquet at a Now, Tracy, you're doing the Egyptian healing rods. You want to say a few words about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Back in about 1914, there was a nobleman in Russia named Count Walensky who did some investigation into rods that were held in the hands of priests and kings in statues from ancient Egypt. And there's some scientists in Russia who investigated what those rods were and what they would do. And now those rods are available here. They're a wonderful healing tool, and so for both physical and spiritual connection. And on Friday at 7 o'clock, this coming Friday, we'll be doing some information about the healing rods and a healing circle. So invite everybody.
And that's
to that.
Friday the
And it's here.
18th.
Friday the 18th here.
Right here. Okay, Friday the 18th. Thank you so much, Tracy. So we invite you to that. Now, Jackie Nevels is going to be doing a workshop. Jackie, would you stand up briefly and tell us a little bit about your workshop?
Good morning, everyone. Won't take a lot of time this morning. But usually this time of year, we are usually reflecting on how the year went and also thinking ahead and making plans and setting goals for next year. Well, we have 2 classes coming up in January to help jumpstart your year so that 2010 can be your best year ever. And I want to tell you a little bit about them. And I'm going to stick to the script because usually when I kind of do it on my own, I take more time than I need to. The first workshop or class that's coming up is called Spiritual Fitness. And it's based on this book by Carolyn Reynolds, which we have in our bookstore across the way. And it's a 4-week workshop on spiritual fitness. Just as physical fitness is essential for our physical health, spiritual fitness is essential for a balanced life and offers unlimited benefits for everyone. The focus is on how to practice and embody spiritual principles in practical everyday way, from the workplace to relationships to our personal and physical well-being. The exercises will help one to move from theory to practice and living these truths in a practical everyday way. The activities are engaging, fun, and purposeful, and helping us to find clarity in what we are meant to be. Wear comfortable clothes because we are going to be incorporating yoga, various forms of meditation, affirmations as part of a interactive group work and discussions. So it's a very participatory class. It's on Thursdays, January 7th through the 28th, so that's 4 weeks. January 7th, the 14th, 21st, and 28th. So we look forward to, from 6:30 to 8:30. And Christiana Donovan and myself will be facilitating these workshops. So we look forward to you joining us. We have flyers on the table out there so that you don't have to remember everything I said because it's on a piece of paper. Now, the other workshop that's coming up, and this was by request, the Creative Visioning Workshop. And I did this workshop last year, but we've taken it to a deeper level because we have grown in our spiritual awareness. So it's more than just looking at things, but it's more on a deeper level of looking at wholeness. So the Creative Visioning Workshop is a 2-part workshop. Part 1 focuses on creative visioning process, being clear about your goals, and Part 2 is on practice, our daily due diligence to bring our dreams to fruition. The purpose of the workshop is to help you realize the power of visualization in achieving personal goals, adding clarity to what you want, helping you to remain motivated, focused, and on track to attract your desired experiences. In the workshop, you will create, visualize, and get the feeling of your dreams fulfilled. You will consciously practice on a daily basis to keep in the flow of manifesting your experience. So, I know some of you have vision boards and journals and all that. Bring all of that with you because we're going to give it a new slant. Last year when I was up here, I shared with you about the bracelet. Remember the bracelet when I was in Greece? Well, I have another little short story about creative visioning. Today I'm wearing the necklace. And I'm going to tell you a little short thing about the necklace. Of course, I have a vision board. Now, I'm always putting things on it and adding things. And so, for Mother's Day last year, Al took me to a restaurant for Mother's Day dinner. And they had a raffle. So, I filled out the raffle and forgot about it. Well, 2 weeks later, I get a call, and I won the diamond pendant that I'm wearing today.
Wow.
Now, the twist is, when I went back and looked at my vision board, guess what I saw? I saw a pendant pretty similar to the one I'm wearing. So this is just, I think, another testimony. In the Bible it says, come, without money, without price. And so this is just one personal testimony I want to give you. And I look forward to you joining us at the workshop. Now this workshop is going to be on Saturday, January the 10th, January the 16th and the 30th. And they start at 9:30, from 9:30 to 11:30. These workshops are very engaging, fun, and hopefully very fruitful to all of you. So I hope you'll join us.
All right. Make sure we take some.
Remember that happened one time? Well, thank you so much, Jackie. That's great. So we've got a lot of things going on at the center. We hope to see you during this holiday season. Our word for today is the divine individual, and a divine individual in my life, Dr. Gason. So
Well, who is the divine individual? I'm seeing it everywhere. Everyone is the divine individual. The truth is, once we really understand what that means, we can actually live it and be it in the world. Now, we all have a personality, and that's only one aspect of who we are. That's the outer way. And many times our personality changes. Sometimes we express more of a sunny side, and then other times it's not so sunny. But there is that truth about us, that uniqueness, that special spiritual essence. And Ernest Holmes called that divine individuality. And each one of us, each human being, each spiritual being, has the potential of giving full expression to that. The journey of the soul is the realization of that truth, and then journeying to make it happen, to bring it into full manifestation in the here and now. We are all on this journey, and it is up to us to realize and fully manifest, fully express that realization, to make it true in our life. Many authors, many spiritual wisdom teachers have talked about the uniqueness of each individual. And especially as we celebrate this holy season of all the different religious traditions, we find one common theme, and that is that within each person is the divine essence, which has been called the Christ. But that is not unique to one particular religious faith. It is not unique to Christianity. It is that true essence that is unique to all, to every human being. And in all different faith traditions, it is celebrated. And it is understood and fully realized. And each one refers to it maybe by a different name, but there's only one. And in this season, we are celebrating the full birth, the full coming into manifestation, not just in the world in general, but in the life of every one of us. In the life of you and in my life, we are the divine individuals. Let us say together the statement at the bottom of the card. I am a unique, loving expression of God. And that's the truth, and so it is. So it is.
So, right here, right now, let's center ourselves in spirit, open ourselves to the healing meditation. And in this season, we open our hearts to the presence of God. Open our hearts to the presence of God. Open our hearts to God's love. Open our hearts to the presence of God. To the presence of God in our hearts. Every spiritual tradition recognizes the divine essence In Buddhism, it's called the Buddha nature. In Hinduism, it's called Atman. In Taoism, it's called the way or the flow. And the Sufis, out of the Islamic tradition, call it essence. In the Christian tradition, it's called the Christ. It means the anointed one of God. And in the beginning, you and I and every sentient being have been anointed. Divinity has touched us, waiting to come forth. We're all aware of the gods coming together at one time and saying, where shall we put this divinity? Shall we put it deep within the sea? And they said, no, because man will go there and find it. Shall we put it at the highest mountain? No, because man will climb that mountain and find it. And one of the gods said, I know where we'll put it. We'll put it right in man's heart. In the heart of humanity, because people will not think to look for it there. But we have discovered the truth that as we go deep into our own hearts, that divinity comes forth. The essence comes forth. The Atman comes forth. The Christ nature comes forth. Our essence comes forth into a beautiful reality. So during this season, we open our hearts. We open our hearts to the presence. We open our hearts to the I am. We open our hearts to our own wholeness. And we are at home. And that's the truth. And so it is. So, right here, right now, let's welcome the One Heart, One Mind Choir.
I think of Christmas as a joyous time, and I have loved the rain. It made me feel like it's more Christmas, did it you?
For us, it could.
So welcome this morning. I'm glad you came. We're going to do we're going to do joyous carols for you this morning, fun ones. And I found a arranger who did a little jazzy night, which I like. And so we're going to do 3 in a row, and they're really short. And as you know, I program keyboard roll music, so I'm going to have to change a little bit in the meantime. So you may clap after each one while I change the keyboard, if you like. And our very first one is an old English one. Ding dong merrily. Yeah. Why not? It's got old English, also language, which is a lot of fun to sing. So listen to the words. I think you'll enjoy them.
Ding dong merrily on high, and the bells are ringing. Ding dong merrily the sky is ringed with angels singing. Glory, glory, Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
Yeah, the bunny rabbit.
This is the old Carol of the Bells done in jazz.
Merry Christmas, oh, Merry Christmas, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ba-da, 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 ba-da.
Well, we're going to talk about the gift of the divine individual today, and we're going to talk about it in the Judeo-Christian tradition. It's always a challenge in Science of Mind churches when you get into the Christmas season and the Easter season. And I've talked about this before because we always have what are called the unchurched, who don't care what kind of language we use. And then we always have people who are attracted to our teaching who are the de-churched, usually ex-Catholics. But they can come from all kinds of traditions, and the de-churched had it slammed down their throat when they were younger. And so when you use terminology that's Christian terminology, there's this even though you don't want to do it, there's this kind of subconscious reaction. Oh no, I don't want to hear that. You know, Bishop Spong, who was an Episcopal bishop one time, he wrote a book called Rescuing the Bible from the Fundamentalists. And it was a big hit. And what he was trying to say is that he would like to see the situation where all of us could go to any kind of church or mosque or temple, and we would be at home in there because we would realize that the words that they were speaking were simply words from that tradition. and they were pointing to something greater. So I hope as we go through the talk today that you can look beyond the particular word into what the word symbolizes. For example, Christ is not the name of a man. It is a spiritual principle that means the essence of divinity in each one of us. So as we move into the season, and by the way, this is the 4th day of Hanukkah, I believe, in the celebration of Hanukkah. And we're moving into the time of Christmas. When we move into this celebration, we want to look to celebrate it perhaps as the original Christians celebrated it. Now, that's a novel idea. How did the original Christians celebrate it? In fact, you know the word Christian wasn't even used until the 2nd century. And then it was used first in a pejorative sort of way, and then later positively. And if you study the history of the Christian church, what you realize is that the teachings of Jesus were Gnostic teachings. They were teachings of spiritual truth that were inclusive and gave empowerment to the individual. And then these teachings were taken over by a group of bishops who decided to try to make it a patriarchal kind of thing, an exclusive kind of thing, so that there could be hierarchical control. And that happened from the 3rd century on. That's another talk. And we can talk about the history of the Christian church. But we want to go back to what Emerson believed was original Christianity. Holmes believed was original Christianity. And there's a great deal of proof that the Gospel of Thomas was really closer to what Jesus really believed. And that was the truth of oneness, the truth of unity, the truth of embracing both the masculine and the feminine as we move into our spiritual nature. So, 2,000 years ago, a lowly carpenter's son came to the realization of his own divinity. But he didn't do it just for himself. He actually, through his teachings, left us a blueprint of how we can each move into that same divinity and discover and live from our divine individuality. Let's listen to the words for a moment of Dr. Holmes. He said, "Our work does not deny the divinity of Jesus. It affirms the divinity of all people. It doesn't say the kingdom was revealed to Jesus. It says the kingdom is within each of us." People began to misinterpret Jesus' teaching right in his own day. Somebody fell down right in front of him and called him good. And he said, "Why are you calling me good? There's none good save the one which is God." And then when he saw that the people persisted in interpreting the personality for the principle, and we would say the man for the essence, he said, "It is expedient that I go away. Otherwise you'll be following me and not the Spirit of truth." In fact, if you study it, you will see over and over again that Jesus said that there is a spirit of truth that you can come into contact with. Don't worship a man, don't worship any person or personality, but come to that communion with the divine essence within you. And so, as you study the works of Thomas Troward, which is the foundation of science of mind, and you study the life of Jesus, you can see that they come together. Troward said there were 7 divine essences. And so we look first at the birth of Jesus, and we find that it's symbolized by the essence of life. And then we look at the next stage, which is the baptism, symbolized by the essence of joy. And then the temptation that Jesus went through, symbolized by the essence of power. The fourth, the teaching of Jesus, symbolized by the essence of love. Then the transfiguration, the mystical transfiguration, which is symbolized by the essence of beauty. Then the crucifixion, symbolized by the essence of peace. And then the resurrection, symbolized by the essence of life. So I'm going to take a few moments to go through these stages and ask you to apply them to your own life, because that's what Jesus asked. He said, don't take it from what I do, use it for what you can do. So, we know that, for example, the first Christmas wasn't even celebrated until 336 AD, and it was when Constantine decided to make Christianity the religion of Rome. only 2 of the 4 Gospels discuss the birth of Jesus. And some of that, of course, you can trace back into fable and mystery. We're not sure exactly, because we don't even know, for example, exactly when he was born. They picked the date of December 25th because it fit with the time of this festival. His name was really Joshua Bar Joseph. That was his real name in Aramaic, Joshua Bar Joseph. If you said, hey, Jesus, as he was walking down the street, he'd never turn around, because that wasn't his name. So, when we announce the innate divinity of who we are, we're celebrating our spiritual birthday as well as the spiritual birthday of this person, even though we picked December 25th as a convenient date. So, let's take a look at the first thing is the idea of birth. Okay, we celebrate the birth of a man, but we're celebrating this essence within each one of us. The seed of divinity has been planted in us. It's been called the Christ. What does that mean? Okay, the Christ is a Greek word. Where did it come from? You go back and say, okay, where did that come from? Well, it's a translation of the word Messiah, which is a Hebrew word. Well, we hear the word Messiah and we have all of these connotations, but the word Messiah, well, what does that mean? It simply means this: the anointed one of God. And if you go back into the Bible and you look at Bible history, you find out that the very first priest of the Hebrews was Samuel. And the Hebrew people came to Samuel and they said, we want to have a king. And Samuel warned him against the king for a number of reasons, but he said, okay, you want a king? I'll anoint a king. And so he anointed King Saul. He took a ram's horn with oils and herbs, he poured it over his head, and he says, now you are the anointed one of God. You are the Messiah. So, Saul was the Messiah. Now, if you know your Bible history, that didn't last very long. Because King David came along and Samuel anointed him, and he became the Messiah. And then more kings became the Messiah. Well, then what happened? Well, what happened was, of course, there were 2 invasions. In around 700, 721, and then in 581, there were 2 invasions. The Jewish people were carted off into the Netherland. The 10 tribes of Israel were lost. And the Jewish people throughout the empire, they would come to the rabbis and they would say, where is the Messiah? Where's the new king? Well, the rabbis for a while didn't have the answer. And then somebody came up with this one. Oh, the new king is not a king of this world. The new king is a king of another world. He is? Yes. And what's going to happen? Oh, this king's going to come down. Going to come down from the sky. He's going to come down and he's going to take care of all the wicked people. You know, all the people who have persecuted us, going to take care of them. That's the new Messiah. So, here comes this carpenter's son, walking along the road, being what he wants to be. And somebody says to him, hey, are you the one? Are you the guy that the rabbi's been talking about? Are you the new Messiah, the new king? And if you read carefully the Bible, Jesus said, no, I'm not. I'm not that kind of person. I'm simply a person who discovered the essence of divinity in me. I discovered it for me. But what happened historically is they gave him the name Messiah. They changed it to Christ, and as far as you can walk down the street and talk to people, they think that's the last name of Jesus, and it isn't. Okay? So what's Christ? Ernest Holmes says, it's the principle of divinity in each one of us. Doesn't mean a person. All right, so we get the birth. Then let's move to the second stage, which is the baptism. We're all called to be baptized. And if you look in the Bible, you'll find out there are 2 kinds of baptisms. There's the baptism by fire and the baptism by water. First came the baptism by water. All that means, metaphorically, and in the Gnostic traditions, is that you are cleansed of impurity. And then the baptism by fire means that the Spirit comes into you, the Spirit of God comes into you and also cleanses you. And it says in the Bible, and Jesus, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water, and lo, it says the heavens were opened up. He saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lighting upon him, and lo, a voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." If you don't get anything else, know this: you and I are the beloved, and the universe of spirit is well pleased with us. Remember that Bible quote that says, "I love it," especially when I do something wrong. It says, "Though your sins be as scarlet," and that means, to the relative word, "I see them as white as snow." You see, spirit only sees the essence of purity within us, lifting us up to the next person who we are. So all of us have been baptized. We all have been baptized. And then what happens after the baptism? It's really interesting. What happens is Jesus goes out into the desert. He has had this spiritual experience from the baptism, and he's saying to himself, what went on here? I mean, what was all this? Who am I? What am I really doing here? What's going on? And he goes into the desert, and it says he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. What's that mean? 40 days and 40 nights. Well, all you have to do is go back and look at the word 40. And you find out that really what it means is a time of completion. He fasted for as long as it takes. How long did the Jewish people wander in the desert until they came to the river Jordan? 40 years. So it means metaphorically as long as it takes. So here he is fasting for 40 days and 40 nights. And then it says the devil came to him. Well, what's that? Well, what that simply means is the lower thoughts, the animalistic thoughts that are coming to, that will whisper into your ear. It says, and the same thing, exactly the same thing happened to Buddha. When Buddha was under the Bo tree and Buddha had enlightenment, it said, Myra, I forget the Buddha's name or the devil, but it was the same idea, comes to him and said, "Hey, now you've got it. Now you can control the whole world because you have spiritual power. You can manipulate people. You can get people to do what you want them to do. All you have to do is follow me." And Buddha says, "No, I'm not going to do that." And Jesus said, what did Jesus say? "Get thee behind me, Satan." That's what he said. But Buddha said basically the same thing. He says, "No, I'm here to help people." And the devil said, "It won't work. They're not going to listen to you. They're too caught up in their own stuff." And Buddha said, "Some people will listen, and that is enough. Some people will listen." So this is really the temptation. Now, in the Bible version, there are 3 temptations. And I'm not going to go into them in details, but the first one has to do with the devil saying, make bread out of these stones, which is saying, use your power for materialism. And the second one is talking about going up on a rooftop. I love this one. Get up on a rooftop. The devil said, "Jump off." And Jesus said, "Why should I jump off?" He said, "Because you got spiritual power. And you're not going to die. Just jump off and show everybody how powerful you do." And he says, don't tempt the Lord thy God, which means don't take your spiritual power and use it for stuff like that. That's not the whole point of it. And then the third temptation has to do with an exceedingly high mountain. And anytime you hear the word high mountain in the Bible, it means an exalted place of consciousness. So Jesus is up on this high mountain and he sees all of the kingdoms of the world. And the devil says, all you got to do is follow me and you can have it all. And Jesus says, that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for those things. I'm here to help people with love and compassion. And when he said that, the Bible says the devil disappeared. See, do you see that this whole point of this temptation, and we all go through these kinds of temptations and we get clear about really who we are. Who are we? We're spiritual beings. What are we here for? To make our world a better place and the world a better place. How do we do this? Through love. And that brings us to the fourth stage of his ministry, which is the teaching. The actual teaching that takes place. The truth, teaching of the ages. And it can probably be summarized best by the Sermon on the Mount. I want to take another quote by Ernest Holmes because he tells us what the purpose of the teaching is. He says, "We are not only centers of God consciousness, we're immortal beings, forever expanding, forever spiraling upward, forever growing in spiritual stature. Not some of us, but all of us are immortal, for everyone will finally overcome or transcend any misuse of the law which he or she has made in their ignorance. Complete redemption at last must come alike to all. And what transformations might ensue, what changes of consciousness must take place before this is finally brought about, the finite has not yet grasped. But through the whisperings of divine intuition, we know that even now we see through the glass darkly. We shall someday behold reality face to face. We shall be satisfied when we consciously awake in the likeness of that divinity which shapes our ends." You know, sometimes he really writes great. He really does. Remember, it says we're made in the image and likeness of God. So the image is there and we are here. It is our job to make the image the likeness. It is our job to bring forth that divinity within us. And then the fifth stage is called transfiguration, where we become transparent. That's really interesting. Where Jesus goes up onto a mountain, and after 6 days it says he took Peter. And if you look up Peter in a metaphysical Bible dictionary, you see, what does that mean? He took faith with him. That's what Peter is. And then he took James, which is choice, discrimination. And then he took John, love. Take these three things with you. When you go to the high mountain, to the exalted place, take your faith, take your discrimination, take your love to these places. And when you are open to spirit, it says, his clothes became shining and exceedingly white as snow, so as no launderer on earth could whiten them. He became transparent. And that's a key for each one of us also to become transparent in what we're doing. And then, of course, we have to go through the crucifixion, which is the crossing out of the old, the crossing out of the lower level, and then finally the resurrection where we're born to a new life. This pattern is complete, and the pattern has been given for each and every one of us to follow for our own lives. So when you go through the trials and tribulations of your life, if you're going through any kinds of trouble in your life, what's the cause of this? It's because we're forgetting who we are, forgetting our true nature. So in conclusion, I want to kind of summarize this all with a poem. It summarizes the 7 steps and the ideas of that each step represents a spiritual quality. So let's take the first one, birth. You and I are born of the eternal day. The angels' trumpets proclaim, descending from the heavenly air to our earthly domain. Why are we here? What's life about? We're here to remember who we are. We're here to really live and not just try out. We're here to shine our bright and unique star. And then the baptism, cleansed first by water and then by fire. We burn up our impurities. The wings of spirit, that's our true attire. We trust the current of the lifetime breeze. And all of us have to go through temptation. Temptation is a necessary thing to find our true power and force. It's not in control or manipulating, but surrendering to our holy source. And the first temptation involves material success. The devil wants diversion. Borrow and spend makes life a mess. But we recognize this first perversion. And the second temptation is ego power. You can lord it over the rest, but controlling others makes them sour and keeps us from giving our best. And the third temptation is self-centered pride. I'm not my brother's keeper, it makes us feel all defensive inside and gets us in deeper and deeper. But we're redeemed by the teaching. We teach. We learn the teaching of compassion and care. We give up and sing, don't be cruel. We practice the art of positive prayer, and we follow God's clear golden rule. And then comes the time when we really see ourselves as transparent. Transfiguration and transparent light. Our whole body we can see brand new. No longer in doubt. No longer the dark night. We shine like the sun through and through. And yes, we have to go through the crucifixion, the crossing out of the negative way, and bringing to us freedom at last. We live in the flow of each blessed day and experience the present, the future, the past. And finally, we're ready to assume our true nature. The one has been called to us from the beginning of time. We are resurrected into the life of spirit. We realize the truth of our soul. The hum of the universe we can sense and we can hear it. Life is good, exciting, and whole. So I invite you as you move into this holiday season and into the Christmas season, and even when you sing these Christmas carols, don't sing them in relation to a person who lived 2,000 years ago. Remember, we have always taught that Jesus was not the great exception. He was a great example. And we, because we live in this kind of Western civilization, we can use that example just as if we were in a Buddhist nation, we would use the example of the Buddha. Or in the Hindu nation, in Hindu nations, the example of the Atman. Or in China, the examples of the Tao or the flow. It doesn't matter the terminology we use. The most important thing is to realize who we are. And so I proclaim for each and every one of us during this season that we are open and receptive, that we ascend the high mountain of spirit, that we open ourselves up to the spiritual presence and power, and that we live the life that we are meant to live, the life of the Christ, the essence of God within us. And that is the truth. And so it is.
Now's the time that we share our gifts. And I'm inviting the others to come forward, please. And as we prepare to give, let us do so in the full realization of the blessings in our own life. And that as we give, we open ourselves up to receive. Let's say the affirmation that we find in our program. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I do give thanks that this is so, and so it is. My grandmother's favorite Christmas song. It's a German Christmas song. It means a rose came up to bloom. Oh, with great gratitude we receive these gifts, knowing that the goodness of life is our experience right here and right now. And these gifts are a blessing to One Heart, One Mind spiritual community. They are a blessing to each one of us. They are a blessing to the world. And they are evidence of the all-sufficiency of good in all of life. In gratitude we receive, and in gratitude we bless and give. and so it is. Now I'm so pleased to invite the kids to come up here and share with us this morning.
Right away.
I missed
Today, we all made snowflakes.
All right.
And then each of us are snowflakes, but we're unique in different ways.
All right.
no snowflakes alike, ever.
Right.
Anybody else like to share?
Look at that.
All right.
It's me.
Okay. Well, join us after the service for Anita's workshop and of course for refreshments over on the other side. I'm always hesitant to say that. Yes. 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 You know, as it is our tradition, especially throughout the year, but especially during this season, that we share our gifts with a wonderful, wonderful agency that brings so much good to so many people. It's called God's Extended Hands. And not only do they accept clothing, but also food items. So please be generous in your giving. And Linda and Steve will collect all those
Bring 'em
items
here.
and deliver them.
Bring them here, I'll collect them
Right,
as we get.
right.
Clothes
I
and
have a couple
toiletries.
bags that I give to
Great.
you today. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And now, let us just take in this wonderful experience and know right here and right now that we truly are in a sacred, holy place. And we are the one, each one of us, that this world has been waiting for. To let our light shine and to share our gift and to express the fullness, the wholeness, the love, the joy, the peace, the power of the divine individual I am. And we do so right here and right now, and we are uplifted and moved to that glorious place of spiritual well-being, spiritual freedom. All is well. That's the truth, and so it is.
So it is.
And now, I invite this wonderful, glorious, one heart, one mind choir to sing.
Okay.
But it's so tight. And so you'll hear some things in there that you'll recognize and you'll remember for friends. I really joy and love are some of those my favorite aspects. Joy and rejoice.
La 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 la.
pressure on the wrong thing.
It's okay.
Whoa! Over or sing?
You guys like this song?
My mom is trying to
Like the attitude we got going
our
on.
house. You know where they are. They're in the
Home with boughs of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, la 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 la. Through the ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la. Sing the praising you before us, la 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 strike the harp and join the chorus, la 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 la. La 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 la.